All right, so I'm working on doing a 30-day challenge, and the 30-day challenge is to do a vlog every day for 30 days. And it's not going to be a vlog where I'm just recording my life and what I do. I decided I'm going to come up with 30 topics, and each day talk about one of the topics each day. Just short and brief, but something to ponder, something to talk about, something to discuss. The first one, and the idea of it is basically, the idea of this 30-day challenge is basically to, one, record thoughts, see what you think at some point in your life, and then look back on it, because I've looked back on some of my older videos, and I've enjoyed doing them. And to basically put your thoughts out there so you can have a discussion about various things in your life. So the first one that I'm working on, the first topic is sleep. This is the first one I wrote. It's kind of random. I just made a list, and the reason I chose sleep is I just finished reading a book called Why We Sleep by this guy Matthew Walker, who's a professor at Berkeley and has researched sleep for the last 30 years. So he's one of the experts on sleep, and I found it really, really fascinating. The gist of it is basically that sleep is, he considers the lack of sleep that we get in modern Western society a public health crisis, because it causes all sorts of problems when you don't sleep enough, even if you don't sleep enough by 1 hour a night. Now, there's a lot of varying amounts of sleep that people need. Some people need less, some people need more. Your age is a factor, your health, all of these things. But one of the quotes in the book said, "Scientists have discovered a revolutionary new treatment that makes you live longer. It enhances your memory, makes you more attractive. It keeps you slim and lowers food cravings. It protects you from cancer and dementia. It wards off colds and flus. It lowers your risk of heart attack and stroke, not to mention diabetes. You'll even feel happier, less depressed, and less anxious. Are you interested?" And he's basically getting at the point of sleep. Basically, sleep is the foundation of all other pieces of health in your life. So basically, if you're eating nice and healthy, but you're not sleeping, your body's not able to utilize what you're eating as effectively as if you were sleeping well. If you're exercising or lifting weights and you don't sleep well, you're not able to recover as well. If you're learning something or reading or having a conversation with somebody and you don't sleep well, you're not able to absorb what was being discussed or what was being learned as effectively. And there's just so many unknown benefits to sleep that we don't yet know. I mean, we know so little about sleep. A question as simple as why did we evolve to sleep is not easy to answer, and we don't have an answer to that, and we don't know. One of the interesting things that he brought up in a podcast I was listening to with him was that he was saying that maybe wakefulness evolved out of sleep. Maybe maybe we were by default evolved to be unconscious and asleep all the time, and somehow wakefulness evolved out of that, as opposed to the other way around, that we were evolved to be awake and conscious, and then sleep was some evolutionary benefit that over time we now spend a third of our lives doing. Just an interesting thing to ponder. But basically the short of it is that lack of sleep, especially if you sleep on average, I think the average American sleeps 2 hours less than they did 100 years ago. And Matthew Walker is basically making a claim that it's one of the big reasons for increased obesity, increased risks of cancer, dementia, Alzheimer's, heart disease. It makes you feel more depressed, makes you feel more down, lowers your energy. Pretty much everything in life comes out of how much energy you have, your motivation, what you do on a day-to-day basis, how you treat other people, all of these things. So basically sleep is just incredibly important. And there's so many benefits that we don't know, but we know it's important. Because if you don't have it, life gets a lot worse. One of the quotes I think is, not only does sleep allow you to live longer, it allows you to live better. Because there's always this balance between living a long life, but also living an enjoyable life. Is it better to do the things you enjoy and make your life shorter, or is it better to resist all those things and live longer? There's some balance in between, but we know that sleep improves both of them. It improves the length of your life and also how good your life actually is and how you feel in it. So yes, sleep is just really a really, really important thing. And one of he left a few tips throughout the book of how to improve your sleep. And there's a few common culprits to poor sleep. Caffeine is a big one. I think 85% of adult Americans consume caffeine on a daily basis. And typically if you consume it in the morning, you wouldn't think it would affect your sleep in the evening. but it can affect your sleep in the evening. So one way to test that is basically to just stop having caffeine for like 30 days and see if you sleep better from that. I'm all about 30-day trials, so this is day one of a 30-day trial. And the thing about 30-day trials, which is cool, is that one, it's a fun challenge. It's an opportunity to try something new. But if the 30-day challenge works, you can integrate it into your life. And the only way you really know whether it's going to work or not is if you try it and see if you enjoy it. So doing caffeine without 30 days, I think, is a great challenge for anybody that drinks caffeine, because the side effects of caffeine are actually a lot greater than people think. It causes you to feel more irritable, causes your cortisol levels to rise, which is your stress hormone, and it can make you have problems falling asleep. It can affect how you treat other people. It can affect how productive you are. Most people associate caffeine with being productive, but basically what caffeine does is it blocks the part of your brain that makes you feel tired. He talks about this in the book, and it just delays your tiredness, which is why you have a crash after the caffeine wears off and you need to either have more caffeine or you need to take a nap. So caffeine is like one of the big culprits. Staring at our screens, that's a big one that everyone already thinks about and talks about, but staring at your screen, basically, it makes your brain think that it's sunny out. Our brains aren't wired to use technology and stare at lights like this. So basically, it delays the onset of melatonin, which is what makes you sleepy. And if you're staring at your screen before going to bed, which is very, very common for people to do, when they lay down to sleep, they can't fall asleep, so then they stare at their phone more, and it leads to this vicious cycle of poor sleep. So those are the first two. Staying physically active is one that you hear all the time, but that's necessary just because it circulates blood in your body. It allows your organs to function better, allows you to think better, it makes you feel better. Staying hydrated, that's a good one. One key on that is not to drink too much water before sleeping, so you have to wake up and use the toilet. It can affect your sleep. Going to bed and waking up at the same time, even on weekends, your body gets in these rhythms of sleep. And this is something I've been working on for a while, is trying to basically go to bed and wake up at the same time, it's tough because everyone has different schedules, and one late night of partying can definitely throw your sleep off for a few days or even a few weeks, depending on how often you do it. Keeping the temperature right in your room. Typically, your body temperature drops 2 degrees when you need to fall asleep. So having a cool climate is normally very helpful in falling asleep. A big one, which I think is why Americans on average, or people in the West generally, sleep 2 hours less than they used to, is giving yourself time to sleep. Like if you lay in bed for 10 hours, you might only sleep for 6. You might only sleep for 8. It's very difficult to tell depending on how fast you fall asleep and how the quality of your sleep. But giving yourself time where you're just like winding down, have a nightly down routine, that can be big. Getting sunlight every day. Sunlight is key, especially getting it into your eyes because it sets your circadian rhythm. There's so many other benefits of sleep or of sunlight, but sunlight is definitely key for setting your circadian rhythm, which then affects your sleep a lot. So that's kind of the gist of the book, but I would highly recommend it. It's called Why We Sleep by Matt Walker, and he was also on Joe Rogan talking about this book. So it's if you don't want to read the whole book, there's like a 2-hour podcast on it. But yeah, the short of it is sleep is just so important for our health, and in modern society, when we look at health, we kind of always think diet and exercise. That's kind of like the new modern way of thinking of health, but we disregard sleep. Like if people are only sleeping 5 hours a night and they're working really hard, we don't look at those people as being unhealthy, but it is the foundation to pretty much everything else good in life. Whether it's how well you socialize, how much energy you have to wake up and seize the day, or if it's about all the other miscellaneous benefits that I named, sleep is just such an important thing. So with that will be day 1 of the vlog. If you have any other feedback or things to add about what I said on sleep, you can comment below or reply with your own video. The idea of this is really just to put my thoughts out there, be corrected where I may be wrong, share what I know, share ideas, spark some discussion, and record my thoughts so I can look back on them and see what I thought when I was this day, and what is today? April 10th, 2019. So until tomorrow, see ya.